that. It's like, well, how do you know? Well, how's your heart? You know when you're in love with somebody. Have you done this? You ever had a crush on somebody? See, there's this thing that happens when you got a crush on somebody. You ever have this? You've had this. All of a sudden you're in math class and you look across and there's Susie and you're like, oh. And you're a teenage boy and you want to say something to her. You want to say something like, Susie, yesterday the afternoon sun broke through the window and it streamed through the waves of your hair, and I thought to myself, in the words of Albert Schweitzer, I fancy you. But all that comes out is, hello, Sue. I like bread. I got knees. See ya. And you can't, but you want to, and she's there, and then there's that thing that happens. You can't stop thinking about her or him. You just can't stop. And then you're in math class, and you should be concentrating on math, but you can't. Because you keep thinking about them. And then have you ever had this? Every single song on the radio, you start thinking about them. Every single song, it's like, that's about them. That's about them, too. That's not my Chris Brown, that's not about them. This song is about them. Have you ever done that? See? Sometimes I think we underestimate the power of music. See, it's what's in your heart. And see, sometimes a love song, do you know this? Do you know sometimes a love song can be a worship song? Because it all depends on who you're singing it to. It all depends on who's in your heart. See, a love song can be a worship song. It all depends on who is in your heart. The other day, the band and I, we got this a couple months ago. We're driving in the car, and we're coming back from somewhere, and they're all crammed in my car, and we're sitting there, and it was this crazy thing. This song came on the radio, and all of us just got real quiet. And as this guy started singing the song, we all looked at each other, and somebody said, that song's about Jesus. It's a secular song, it's a love song. But that song is about Jesus, because a love song can be a worship song. It all depends on what's going on in your heart. It all depends on who you're singing it to. And as we listen to the lyrics of the song, I realized this is a song about Jesus. This is the kind of thing Jesus would say. Because a love song can be a worship song. It all depends on who you're singing it to.
But darling, that's your catch a grenade. Oh
times when everybody else seems to leave, God shows up. You ever notice this? In your life, sometimes you can be in a crowd and feel alone. And sometimes the very people that you feel should be there for you don't. They're not. They leave. And sometimes you're just there all alone. And I love the psalmist who says God is close to the brokenhearted. And when we cry out to him, he is close. Because sometimes you just need a song to cry out to God. Sometimes a love song can be a worship song. It just all depends on who you're singing it to. See, sometimes a love song can be a worship song. It all depends on who's in your heart and who you're singing it to.
So call around the world, I'm all alone, I need you now. Said I would call, lost all control, I need you now. And I don't know how I can do it now. I just need you now.
See, a love song can be a worship song. It all depends on who you're singing it to. It all depends on what's in your heart. See, you know what's going on in your heart. You know what's going on in your heart. When you're in love with somebody, everything just bubbles out of you. You can't stop thinking about it. When you're in love with somebody, see, this is what today's about. Today's about your love. Because if you love somebody, it's just going to bubble out. And every song you hear reminds you of them. Every song you hear reminds you of them. Because a love song can be a worship song. It all depends on who you're singing it to. Because it's all about what's in your heart. So when you hear these songs that God's in your heart and you love them, you just can't stop singing to them. Because a love song can be a worship song.